Hi, it's Steve with Coin Stuff I Like, bringing you another Ike Stuff I Like video. This one, I am going to do a search of a 50 coin Clad Ike lot I got on eBay. Um, the cost, counting taxes and shipping and so forth, is about $2.69 per coin, which is a little bit on the pricey side. You like to get them under, Clad Ikes. You like to get them under $2, certainly under 250. And if you get big lots, um, or you get them from a Federal Reserve bag, um, you can get them a lot cheaper. But that's what this one is. About $2.69 a coin, and I'm going to go ahead and search it. The Clads were essentially the Philadelphia, no mint mark, and the Denver coins of 71s through 78. Um, Remember that 76 was the Clad coins were produced both in 75 as well as 76 and had different obverse reverse. So I'll open them up and I'll separate them out into date and mint mark. Um, of course, the major varieties from 71 Denver, there's the Friendly Eagle variety, which is ODV 006, and versus the regular ODV 001, which is a Type 1 reverse that was used in Denver. The curious thing with these numbers for ODVs is the Friendly Eagle is actually produced in Denver first, the Friendly Eagle reverse, and then they brought in the regular Type 1 reverse for the remainder and larger portion of the 1971D production. For 72 in the Philadelphia, I'll be separating them out into reverses type 1, 2, and 3. 2 is type 2 reverse on a 72 Philadelphia Ike is uncommon. There's only two dies that were used. They're very uncommon, so probably won't be seeing those, but I'll be checking them. And then getting down to the 76, as I mentioned, the ones dual dated 1776, 1976 that were produced in 1975 has a type 1 obverse reverse, blockier letters in United States of America on the reverse, and a peg leg obverse, peg leg R, I should say. So that's the way they were in 75, and then 76, still dual dated 1776, 1976. It's a type 2 obverse reverse. So the United States of America have little pointier serifs, are not block letters, and the obverse, the R, has serif, sort of a rounded um, serif R at the bottom. So I'll organize them into date mint mark. I'll check some of these major varieties, and I'll certainly, for the 76, I'm going to organize them into date mint mark and in type 1 or type 2. Then I'll once I've done that, I'll start looking for some of the varieties, and hopefully I'll find one or two. I'll be checking the for peg leg R, the diabrasion peg legs. I've done videos on that, by the way, and I'll put those in the description of this video. And so 71D, 72 type 1, 74D, 76D type 2, and 77D and 78D all had potential peg leg R finds there. Double die and double die verse, double die reverse. realize in the Ike series there's a lot of double die, obverse, double die, reverse. Many of them are upline hub doubled, so they transferred into many dies that same doubling, and we'll be looking for some of the more um, collectible versions. They're either with more robust spread or quadrupling, what have you. We'll look for those. RPMs, yes, Ikes have RPMs, so I'll be checking for those. Clashes, I'll look for some clash. I'll look for clashes. I'm not going to bring back and show you the minor clashes, but the bigger ones that are more distinct that run across this series. A little bit more in the earlier part of the series than the later part, but they all can have clashes. Other designated Ike varieties, Diva Ikes. So there are a few of those that I'll be looking for each date and mint mark. And by the way, as I go through this, and I find some, if I find some, you'll want to know the Diva listings, and even if I don't find something, I'm putting the Ike Group homepage, which has the Diva listings, and I'll put that in the description of this video as well. And then, not likely to find them, but always look for them, is the off metal D mint. So 74D, 77D, 76D Type 2. They all have known 40% silver planchets that were struck in Denver. So off metal. That's because the San Francisco Mint would ship planchets off, and somehow Denver ended up with some 40% planchets and struck circulation strike Denver Ikes 74D, 76D Type 2, and 77D. These are all known. Probably won't find any, but I'll be checking for the copper sandwich or the lack of the copper sandwich, and if I see anything, then I'll weigh it. But probably not going to find those. But that said, that's what I'm going to be looking for. Let's get to it. All right, so here's the packaging that I received from the seller, and I'll go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. So inside is there's a bubble wrap mailer, and there's the coins inside. Let me get rid of this, and I'll bring that back to you in just a second. All right, so there they are, baggy, wrapped, lot of 50 coins. There, you can sort of see them there. There they are. And what I'll do is I'll open this baggie and then organize these by date and mint mark, as I said in the intro. Alright, so I'm going to just pop back in for just a second, and I open this up, and just want to say that I'm not seeing any silver, any 40% silver, which means the off metal. Of course, the lot was advertised as Clad with no silver, so I wasn't expecting to find silver, but just the same. Check for the off metal 74D, 77D, and 76D Type 1, and it doesn't appear that there's any off metal Ikes there. So now on to counting out dates and mint marks. All right, now they're organized, and what I have in that lot of 50, there is 171P, which is, those are not easy to find. There are 8 71Ds. I'm looking forward to looking at those. There's two 1972 Type 1, 1972 Type 3, no Type 2s as I expected. Then we jump ahead. There are 1472Ds, which will be nice to look at as well. There's a few varieties in there, potentially. No 73s, either P or D. And those are just, you don't typically find them in rolls. They're harder to find. So I wasn't expecting to get 73s. There are no 74 Philadelphias, but there are 574Ds. There are no 76 Type 1s, which was a little surprising. There are 576 Type 2 from Philadelphia, and there's 176D Type 2. There's a 77 from Philadelphia. There's a 77D, actually 477Ds, no 78 from Philadelphia, and 678Ds. So pretty good representation. I'll also tell you that it was advertised as XF to BU, and that's true. And there are a number of pretty nice looking coins that are potentially album fillers in terms of the quality. I'm not sure if any of them are graders. Now, if some of the BUs happen to be varieties, then they might be worth getting them graded. But I wasn't expecting to find any higher grade graders even among the BUs. So a nice diversity, I think. I've purchased rolls before where they're just loaded with 76s, and those are not really great for varieties. So let's take a look at those. From now on, if I come back, it's going to be with the scope and to show you a specific variety. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Bye-bye. So there on the left is the distribution of those 50 coins, and I'll let you pause the video and read it if you want. Um, but what I look for, and I do my searches with loops because that's what I'm accustomed to, and I can wobble the coin relative to the light, pick up things a little bit better than under a scope. And I'll be searching, as I said, I'll search for peg legs, double dies, RPMs, clashes, other designated Ike varieties, and off metal, which I already said, I already checked the edges and there was nothing to suggest of 40% off metal. So I did do the search with the loops, and I could tell you first off, there were no peg legs, there were no RPMs, there are no other designated Ike varieties, and no off metal 40 percenters. There were there was a double die verse, a double die reverse, some clashes, and a few other little things that I picked up that I want to show, if possible, under the scope. So this is what I found. So I have 1, 2, 8, 9, 12, 14 coins that have something on them. Now they are all MS. They're all BU, basically. But most of them are in the 63, 64 range. There's no real true graders. The only one that's even possible consideration for sending in for slabbing would be this one, the 1971 Wiles Double Die Verse 001. Um, the others, not so much. The toner, I'm not going to be able to show you because I'm going to go to the scope. But the toner is it's it's details on the obverse. There's a scratch. It would be a 63 without the scratch, and the reverse is an easy 64 for this toner. But the reverse is very pretty. The toning on the reverse is better than the obverse, and the grade is better as well. But this one I won't be able to send that one. It'll get a details grade. So let's take a look at it in scope, and I can show you a few things what I picked up from the 50 coin lot, narrowing it down to 14 things that I'll put aside. Um, and let's take a look at it under the scope. All right, here's the 71 Philadelphia, and this one has a double die obverse, Wiles double die obverse 001. Now I'll see if I get the light right, and you can pick it up at the bottom of the D. Let's see, there it is. Look at the bottom left of the D. There's the notching. It runs across the bottom bar of the D. There's a similar little notching that happens on. There's the O. See the bottom of the O. You can see the bottom of the D. The top bar of the G is the upper loop of the G as it comes to a point. You can see that little furrow there. If you look at the N, the right upper bar and the left side of that, see the notching there, that runs down. I think the I has the same thing. Harder to see. The R down in trust, see the notching there. The U has it as well. And the S, if you look at the bottom loop, bottom left, you see on the S of trust. So under loop is it's a really nice example of Wiles double die verse 001. A little bit harder. It's not an early die state as you can see, and it's maybe a 63. So there's that one. Let's move on. All right, next one is a 71D. And this one, I'm going to flip that over. Look at the reverse. It's not a high grade. It's uncirculated, but not a high grade, not enough to send it in. I've got some really good. I got almost a complete set of Ike's dates and mint marks with struck through grease. And I'll show you that sometime in another video. But this one here is was struck through grease. It's hard to tell perfectly as opposed to loop, but the way the field appears, it's sort of a grainy, shiny appearance, plus the loss of the letter. This was a struck through grease here, running between the S and the T and over the S, of course, because you have loss of the letter. This is not post mint damage. It wasn't somebody tooling the coin. This was struck through grease with a loss of letter. So struck through grease, you'll see that from time to time on Ike's. But when you start losing letters and details, devices, when you start losing those, then it becomes something more collectible. And this one it does have some loss of letters, so a good struck through grease. All right, let's look now at three 1971Ds with some clashes. So for this one, I'm gonna come up a little bit, focus in, and these are gonna have to take a little work to get the light just tangential enough. And this one here, you can see up on the temple, there is a talon head clash. There's a good view of it. Right on the temple, if you triangulate from the top of the ear and the eye, and you go up just a little bit, there's a talon head clash. This one also has a what's called the hair lip clash. Not a great one. Let's see as I rotate that out. A little bit right off the lower lip. It's a line that sort of extends out into the field a little bit. I've got another example. You can see it just a little bit here. And then this has a volunteer clash. You can sort of see it right there running off of the F. That's part of the eagle's wing. You can see a lot of diabrasion work too, where they were working on other clash areas, like between the E and the neck is where you see an upside down U from unum. Not in this case, because there's already been some diabrasion work to fix it. And typically, unless they've changed die pairings, if there's a obverse clash, there's evidence of reverse clash. And this one here, you can see a moonline clash. This is called a moonline clash, but it runs from O, L, L, and then off up this way. That's the top of Mike's head. So that's a clash. That's not a great example, but it's an example nevertheless. Up top is the chin. Ike's chin. You gotta think upside down now. So you can see it running from the top of the wing up into the earth, and then the chin line bends and goes up towards the U. And you can see some diabrasion work there to fix that as well. So that's not a great example, but it is pretty typical chin line or chin line clash through the moon, and from the wing up through the moon and then up towards the U. All right, so that's one. Here's another 71D. And you can see it plain as day now. There is a talon. It's called the talon head clash. This is an area between the eagle's talons. So the on the reverse is the eagle's talons, and then that little V shape you can see there between on the temple, sort of triangulated up from the tip of the ear and the tip of the eye. So there's a talon head on this one. That's a pretty good one, but talon heads, unless they're on a atypical mint market date, I'd rather see like 2, 3, meaning triple clash or quadruple clash talon heads rather than just a single talon head. Not much happened there at the hair lip area. That's something on the coin, and I'm using my hands are clean, but I'm not going to use gloves for something I'm not going to send in. A Clad Ike in MS62. A lot of diabrasion work between the E and the neck, meaning that was part of the clash. That's already been cleaned up. let's see. Oh, no, that's a scratch. All right. There is a little faint volunteer. We call it a volunteer because it's just a single line from the eagle's wing that's running down from FG. It's hard to see here, but it's there. Let's look at the reverse on this one. Yeah, a little bit of a moon line there. It's a lot of diabrasion. Let's check up here. No, not so much there. And then a little bit in here. Next one, another 1971D. And let's start up here. I think this one does not have a talon head. All the various areas don't necessarily clash on, when there is a clash, do not appear. So you got that variable, and then also the variable of whether the mint workers did some work. There's a hair lip down here. You look, there's a light on it extending off of the lower lip. That's a clash. That's called a hair lip. They've already done work down here to take the unum, the upside down U out. Also down here between the mint mark and the bottom, in this area, there's a clash called the bus crash, which is the pluribus, the BUS, but that's already been taken out, and it's also a volunteer. Let's look at the reverse. So just some examples of clashes on these 71Ds. None of them are anything to write home about. This one you can see the chin line crash here, or clash, running up from the wing into earth. They've already done the diabrasion work, and then it was extending out. So imagine Ike's chin, his neck is down here. There's the chin running up to his face. And if you continue on, sometimes you'll see a really nice clashing here called the eye clash. And then I'll just point this out. This is where the talon head comes from, right in here. All right, next is 72 type 1. Not in great shape. It's unk, but it's 60, 63 at best. This one is a double die reverse, and if you look at star 10, stars on Ike's numbered from bottom left with 1 all the way to bottom right, which is 13. So we count backwards: 13, 12, 11, 10. And so if you look at the top of that star, you can see notching, and you can sort of see a furrow going down the edge of that star. There's a really nice, if I get the light right, there you go. It's not a widespread. There is a 1972 type 1 that has this pattern, but is a really robust spread, and it's very, very collectible and very uncommon. This one's a little bit more common, and the only reason I pulled it because I saw it, and I'm doing a study on 1972 type 1 collectible Ikes. The other area, usually when you see that star like that, you can usually pick it up in the C sometimes in America, but this is not. This is not an early die state, so the C is a little bit harder to pick up. You can pick it up in the C's and the LL down below. This one here, not much. Again, it's beat up down there. But this one, if you notice the FG there, that's the FG is really wide. So suggesting that there's doubling going on there. So the other thing in this pattern, if you catch it right, the tip of the olive branch, you can sort of see that that one is doubled there. All right, the left-hand tip of the olive branch, just above that crater there, that's doubled. And the leaf on the very end, it's not very distinct for that leaf. It's pretty fat, but you can sort of pick up a little bit that it's doubled. So the key, it's not a major double die. It's uncertain to me whether this is a hub doubled, but it's not a really robust spread. But you can see in star number 10, a little bit in the C, the FG, the far right leaf, and then the tip of that olive branch. It's not an early die state, otherwise it'd be much more distinct. But there it is. On to the next one. All right, the next one is actually the 472Ds. These are all examples of clashes, and there's some good ones in here. So this one here, there's actually triple talon head. You can see 1, 2. See how it's split there? Let me see if I can get the light different. There we go. See how there's 2? The tips of the 2 are apart, and then there's 1 that's sort of set in the middle but above. So this is actually appears to be a triple clash. You come down here, and let's see. There's a lot of die abrasion work by the lips, but there's a hair lip coming off of the upper lip and the lower lip, and it's hard to distinguish whether there's 3 of them there, but there's at least 2 hair lips. One here, one here. We'll follow it down. A lot of die abrasion work. In fact, you can actually see field bending by the between the E and the neck. No upside down U. That's already been sort of abraded away. No bus crash down there. And there, the abrasion is too coarse here to pick up the volunteers down there off of the F. So on the reverse, let's see, a little bit of a moonline clash here, a little bit. Let's look here. Eyeball area is okay. And a lot of die abrasion work. So not much on the reverse, but you can, the triple talon head was pretty cool. This one here is another multiple clash. Let's see. Up here, if you notice the die abrasion work at the top of the head, the field bending, not enough to cause a peg leg, but you see over here, is right in here, these are craters. So that's the clash from the bottom of the reverse on the very top of Pike's Head. Um, you don't see those too often, but occasionally you do. Let's see. Now, let's see about this. There's one. Let's see if I can get the light. Both. There's at least two of them there. One here, one there. Let's see. Turn this a little bit more. Get the light moving around. Yeah, well, yeah, you know what? This one could be a double in here. One, two, sort of overlap, and then this one's separated this way. All right, so there's a pretty good view of it, of that talon head. And then hair lip, not so much. Can't really pick it up all that well. A lot of dye abrasion work here. Now, this one here, you see this little curve in here? It's been abraded away. I mean, but that's where the upside down U clash would be from Unum, and it would appear right there. In with loops, and you get the light just right. I'm trying to. Oh, there we go. Look, if I tilt it just a little bit, watch this area here. How this will be a little different shade than this right here. Watch this as I tilt a little bit. See that? So it's been abraded away, but that is an upside down U, very, very faint, not a collectible version of it. Now down here, where the volunteer area is, not so much. No, I take that back. 1, 2, 3, triple clash. So these are all coming off. Well, 1, 2, 3. Two of them really close, slightly overlapped, and one separated. That sort of is consistent with, there's another view of it. That's consistent with what we saw up here, where there was two of them close, and then a third separating. This one here on the reverse, let's look, see any moonlight stuff. No, not so much. Eyeball, no, not so much. And some abraded away chin clash right in here. All right, next is there's a single talon head. Look at the location. This is another 72D, right? There's a location of that one. A lot of dye abrasion work. A little bit on the top. A lot in the, it gets more present in front of the eye and the nose. A little bit of a hair lip in here. There it is. Nice hair lip. Clash. That's from Eagle Wing. Some abrasion in the upside down U area. You can't really pick it up. You can't pick it up. That field bending. Field bending is because of the abrasion. And no bus crash. Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice, distinct volunteer. Look at that thing. All right. The note that mint mark placement. All right. If we note it, it is the bar is pointing down towards just about the middle of this upper section and ends up down a little bit right of the bottom of the 7. Somewhat low. All right, I'm only pointing that out because of what comes next after on the next coin. So here on this one, on the reverse, really nice moonlion clash. Let me see, starting here, rolling all the way down here, and starts to come out there, all the way out that way. That's the top of Ike's head, once again. And let's see, nothing there. A lot of abrasion work. Just look where the chin would come in here and then up here. A lot of abrasion work for that where that clash occurred. So the last of the 72 Ds, look at that mint mark placement. Pretty close to the same mint mark place. I'd have to do some photography and some lines and further die identification work, but very similar single talon head, similar hair lip. I'm trying to get that. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Just picked it up right in here, just as I was passing over. Again, if you have loops and you're wobbling this to the light, these things are so much easier to pick up than on your scope. And then once again, a nice crisp volunteer. So this to me looks like very similar obverse. And I have to do further die work to see if they came from the same die. And then also similar moonline, starting here, all the way down, and coming out up here. Ike's head. All right. Oh. Wow. Even a little back of Ike's head there. Let's look. Nothing in the eyeball area, and same sort of thing. Die abrasion work, chin line crash or clash. See the neck, bottom bend of the chin, lips would be up in here, and the rest of the face is up that way. So very similar to that other one. And there's a bunch of clashes of 72 Ds. All right, the next one is a pair of 74 Ds. Nothing really special here. There's a 74D mint mark placement, really rotated right with the D coming almost all the way down the 7, and a little bit higher than what we saw with that 72D. But here, 74Ds are noted for a designated Ike variety called the goiter, where it's a die break with loss of piece of the die right here adjacent to the neck. So it looks like a lump on the neck, hence the name goiter. So there are at least several known different types of those goiters with a pretty large die break. And I only show you this not because there's a goiter, but notice the die crack right here. So it is a break that's developing, but this fragment here between the neck and the field, that's retained. All right. So no goiter, but this has a die crack here. And the next 74D, this is another 74D, different mint mark. Notice how this one doesn't even intersect with the 7, right? So this is farther right mint mark placement. Different die, but it's there it is. Another another die crack right in here in that goiter area. Die crack. All right, so when I'm examining 74Ds, there are some RPMs. There is a 74D peg leg. Nothing much in terms of double dies, but they also have these designated Ike varieties of the large goiters, which is the die break with loss of the die piece. So there's a 74D, just to give you a little information. Those will go back into the pond and not, I won't flip those up at all. We've got lots of examples. So let's get on with the next one. All right, so the next one would have been that 76 Type 2 toner. I'm not going to show that under the scope. This one here is the last one, 78D. And this is another clash. Nothing to speak of here in terms of talon head. There is a hair lip clash, sort of the upper lip here, a lot of dye abrasion. Upside down U's not as abraded away, nothing in terms of the volunteer. The reason I pulled this one was this. I mean, it has the chin line. All right, actually there's some sharp contours to it. But in this case, this is a pretty good eyeball clash right in here. Eyeball clash, very sharp, very good example of the eyeball clash. So this is, remember, chin is up, top of the head is down. I don't think there's any moonlight on. Oh, there sort of is coming down here, but this one here has one of the better eyeball clashes. So I'll flip this one up and throw it in with the clash stuff just because it's a good example. Look at that. Right up there in the fold of the right wing. All right, so let's get back to the last slides and sum this all up. So there you have it. There we started with 50 coin lot. They're all pretty good. I mean, decent. Album type coins, not necessarily third-party grader coins. And we filtered them out to what we have on the left. That's how they broke down and distributed to different dates and mint marks. And then we ended up with these on the right in terms of ones that I showed you under the scope. Now, this one here I flipped up. I don't think I'm going to be submitting it, but I'll compare it to some of the other ones. 71 double die versus 001. This one I flipped up. The struck through grease. These clashes, no. The only clash I flipped up was a 78D because of that eyeball clash. The toner I flipped up. I'm not going to submit that one. I've got a pretty good 76 Type 1 tone to Ike in a good grade. Not the die cracks, no. I'm not going to flip those up because really you want the goiter. The die crack doesn't mean a whole lot. 72D clashes, nope, didn't flip those up. And this one, the 72 Type 1 double die reverse, I flipped that one up for the study. It's not a really profound double die reverse, but I need it for the study. So there you go. Thank you for watching and allowing me to go through some of this and search this with you. And remember, buy stuff you like, but be smart about what you buy. We'll catch you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.